Hello, everyone, and check it out. I have officially moved into my new place, and hope you guys like my new room. Although I haven't exactly really set it up very well at the moment. Still working on that, but regardless, round one is here. Obviously, weird round one that starts last Sunday and goes through 2 weeks, but regardless. Obviously, our Port Girls are about to take to the field for the first time of 2026, and I cannot be more excited. But before we dive into our round one game, let's have a quick look at how last year went and where the team is coming into this year. Obviously, last year was a bit of a failure. Obviously, we didn't make finals. We came just percentage out of the top eight, despite a really solid end to the year. But inconsistency at the start of the year combined with a rubbish umpire decision unfortunately meant we were not able to make finals. But regardless, obviously, as I said earlier, we ended the year strong. We defeated the Hawks, we defeated the Crows, and Gemma Houghton obviously got to become the first woman to kick 100 goals. And it's from this, strong end to the season that I'm feeling kind of optimistic going into this year. But before we get into that, obviously we have to cover a bit of what happened in the off-season. So obviously I covered that we delisted Alicia Brooke and Jasmine Stewart, controversially. We also saw the retirement of former captain Janelle Cuthbertson. Finally, we also traded out Lily Patterson to the West Coast Eagles. And in return, we got Lucy Boyd as well as some new picks. Alongside that, obviously, we had Ellie Hampson get traded in from the Brisbane Lions. And we also saw the drafting of Sophie Eaton and Olivia Crane. Alongside those, we also had the retirement of senior coach Lauren Arnell, which was definitely a big shock to, I think, everyone. And she has been replaced by, I'm going to try and pronounce this correct, Glenn Strawn, I believe it's pronounced. Obviously, I'm a bit of a shame. I'm part Scottish and I have no idea how to pronounce that name. Besides that, we also had other staff changes in the coaching department, and I think like Daniel Merritt went to become head of AFLW footy, and we got someone else in to take over as the defence coach. But obviously, I can't speak too much on the specifics of that. Finally, as we were coming into pre-season this year, we got the horrible news that Gemma Charity had unfortunately done her ACL, which means she'll go 2 years without debuting for our club, which is just so unfortunate, so horrible, and I feel really sorry for her and hope that she obviously does get a chance next year. Alongside that, we also had Caitlin Wedlin, who was obviously recovering from an ACL and unfortunately just did not feel ready for this season, has instead chosen to go into a rehab program this year rather than play. As a result, we got in some injury players in the form of Grace Parsons and Emily, and I'm trying to Elkington, I believe is how you pronounce it, who obviously just came in yesterday and looks like she might be playing for the team this week, which is crazy. But before we get to that game, I do want to run through a bit of where I want to see the team go this year. It's a bit of a wish list. Obviously, what is the goal for the team this year? Maybe I'm being a bit too overly ambitious, but I think a top four is potentially on the cards here. Like, I might be aiming a bit high that we should be finishing as a top team, but when you look at our list and you look where we ended last year, we are one of the strongest forward lines in the comp, and if we can get our defence in check, we should be a team that could potentially win those 9-10 games that are needed to finish in the top four. I'm feeling quite bullish on us this year that we can do that. Obviously, that's going to involve us having to stop bleeding goals like we did last year. And I think there's signs that our defence is going to be much stronger this year. Hopefully, we also can keep our injury list to a minimum. Obviously, we've got Charity and Woodland on there. Annoyingly, Ellie Hampson is on there. And also, we've got Syme, who looks like she might miss a game. And Window is a test. But, that's 5 players. I think if we can keep it around there, I think we should be fine. Also, if we just can avoid injuries to some of our key players, that would definitely be great. Going over to some player specifics, obviously we've got Matilda Schultz, who looks to be an absolute dominant ruck, and some say this might be the year she becomes the number one ruck in the competition. Obviously, to do that, she just needs to get a little bit better on those kicking boots. Obviously, she left a lot of kicks wanting last year, especially in front of goals where I think she kicked obviously 5 goals last year, but 4 of those were from one game, and I think she could definitely have kicked double figures last year. And so that's why I'm definitely really hoping to see her improve this year, because like pretty much everything else about her game is absolutely elite. Another player I've been really interested in this year is obviously Shanae Goody. Obviously had a stellar year in 24 and 25, but just got a little bit too overconfident in her body and thinking that she could just run through every pack, and as a result did get a lot of holding the ball calls and such. So I have seen her do this like some sort of like sports training program in the off season. It was like on Instagram. Um, Obviously that was exciting, and if like that's worked out for her, maybe she can actually get out of these packs and really start dominating the midfield in a way we've never seen before. Another player I'm obviously interested in this year is obviously the barometer of the team, Gemma Houghton. Uh, Last 2 years, she's had a bit of a slow start and's built into the year. I'm just really hoping she can get over that slow start because, again, she really is the barometer for the team. When Gemma Houghton's on fire, the team's on fire. And if we can get her out of the gate firing straight away, like what I sort of saw in the Melbourne preseason game, that's a good sign that we can start this year running from day one. And another player I also want to mention, obviously, is Lauren Young. Obviously, had a bit of an interrupted season last year, came in halfway through the year, didn't really get a preseason. This year, she's got the preseason. She'll be coming in round one. I'm really hoping this is the year that she shows the competition why she was considered a number one draft pick. Probably might have, if had there been an actual draft and we didn't have a priority pick on her. Obviously, she's got some amazing hands. I saw some of her contested marks in the preseason game. If she can turn that into some great passages downfield, get some goals, we could have the most dominant forward line in the competition if you add her on with Houghton and Tahau. That's a forward line most teams would fear. And finally, really we want to look at our ruck situation. Obviously, Schultz is great, but we are one Schultz injury away from disaster, which is why Gaunt or Parsons really needs to move up to become that second ruck role. I want them to be a good enough ruck that when Schultz isn't there, I'm feeling confident that they can at least get enough hit-outs to keep us competitive. I'm interested to see how things go, but regardless, we should look over to our round one preview. Okay, it's unfortunately we're once again on Sunday. We always seem to be on Sunday for the round one in the men's and women's, which just sucks. But regardless, we are versing Fremantle again. Obviously, we versed them for the round one last year, but this time it'll be at their home ground, or the brand new Coburn Arc Oval, I believe it's going to be called. There's obviously a silent C and silent K in there, which is kind of funny. But regardless, it is exciting. This is obviously the brand new oval. This is their training ground that they've normally been playing at, because they've normally been playing at the Fremantle Community Oval in Fremantle. But regardless, I think this is actually the second time Port Adelaide's going to be the first team to play at a brand. Well, actually, no, I think we actually kind of got a history of playing at Newgowns. Obviously, we were the first team to play at Marvel alongside Essendon, and I think we were the first team to play at Adelaide Oval when we moved back there in like 2012 or 13. I can't remember when it was. So glad to continue the history of being the first team to play at new grounds. But regardless, obviously we're coming into this game very much as the underdog. We haven't won a round one game. We haven't bet Fremantle yet, even though we've kind of ironically sort of finished, I think, roughly around them on the ladder in the last few seasons. But to look at some positives, if you can call it that, I was having a look at Freo's injury list, and it is kind of extensive. Obviously, they've got Georgie Brisbane, a key forward of theirs. She won't be available, and neither will major defender Emma O'Driscoll. Alongside that, we also have Eden Zanker, their star forward pickup, who's a test this week, although I think she will be playing. But if she isn't, they could be down 2 key forwards and could have a lot of trouble scoring. Just think about what we were like when we didn't have Teagle in our forward line in the first 2 weeks before we then put in Tahau. So if they could have a dysfunctional forward line, that could be a really good opportunity for our defence to really clamp down. Because if you think on the contrast, obviously we are missing Syme as a defender. But Obviously, we've got Crane debuting and Eaton debuting. I'm feeling confident that we might have a chance here. Obviously, again, it's a long shot. But to talk a bit about those debutants, obviously it does look like Sophie Eaton and Olivia Crane will be debuting alongside Emily Elkington, which is crazy that a person who just joined our club last year, like yesterday, is already debuting in Run. It's just crazy. But I'm feeling pretty confident that Strawn knows what he's doing, and I'm keen to see what his new game style has, because we've already seen other clubs get new coaches and go to new heights. Just look at what Hawthorn did under Webster. And it's for that reason that, I think this game very much is one that we can win, even if we are coming in as the underdogs. But regardless, I'll see you guys for the round review once that game has happened. But until then, let's go Power!